What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, two-time welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Showtime Shawn Porter, has informed his father, trainer, and manager, Kenny Porter, and his advisor, PBC founder, Al Haymon, that the only goal for them he needs them to proceed with is securing a legacy showdown, his mandatory position with undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the WBO welterweight world champion, who is widely considered the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the world, Terence "Bud" Crawford. Shawn Porter says that that's the only fight he needs on his resume to complete his legacy moving forward. So he stated that he's had instructed his father, trainer and manager, Kenny Porter, to seek out whatever it takes to make the Terence Crawford fight happen. Shawn Porter is the number one challenger in the WBO ranking system. He is Terence Crawford's mandatory challenger, and Shawn Porter wants his father and trainer, Kenny Porter, to activate the mandatory position. He wants to fight Terence Crawford. He says that he feels like, he could beat Terence Crawford. He hears the rumblings that people are saying that Terence Crawford will knock him out. He says that he's fought everybody in his career, and that ultimately, along with a possible showdown with legendary 8-division world champion Filipino icon superstar boxer Manny "Pac-Man" Pacquiao, he says Terence Crawford is his number one objective. He does not want that fight to elude him. He stated that he truly believes he'll win the fight. A legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO and promoter who promotes Terence "Bud" Crawford, Bob Arum, he stated that he will only give Shawn Porter a guaranteed flat fee of $1 million to stage the fight with incentives on the back end. Now Shawn Porter is at the point where he's stating that whatever it takes to get the Terence Crawford fight done, he wants to make it happen ASAP. He does not want to allow this fight to elude him. He likes his chances of beating Terence Crawford. He stated that once upon a time, this fight wasn't in his catalog, right? He didn't think about a fight with Terence Crawford. He said Terence Crawford was fighting at lower weight classes. They had a friendship, so he truly never thought about fighting Terence Crawford too much. He never looked too much into that. He said, but once Terence Crawford made his way to the welterweight division, he personally asked Terence Crawford, what's the chances of us fighting and who are you looking to fight? And he said that Terence Crawford told him his focus was Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman. He says now, after the fans are calling for it, after his latest outing against undefeated unified WBC IBF welterweight world champion superstar boxer Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr., in which Shawn Porter had a great outing, a great showing, right? He shocked the world. Most people felt like and thought that Errol Spence was going to walk right through Shawn Porter, and that was not the case. And so Shawn Porter stated that, that's the only fight he's looking to stage. He wants to fight with Terence Crawford. After that fight, he put on that dazzling performance, and people started to call for the Terence Crawford fight. So Shawn Porter said he started to think about it, and the more he thought about it, the more he started training, the more it started to manifest in his brain, in his psyche, and now he stated that his sole focus is Terence "Bud" Crawford. So he says he wants to make that fight, whatever it's going to take to get it done, but he's instructing Al Haymon and his dad, who was his trainer and manager, Kenny Porter, to make this fight happen. He is the mandatory challenger for Terence "Bud" Crawford. That's great news. Now, like I stated, we know Bob Arum is not looking to pay Shawn Porter big money for this fight. He stated that he will give him a flat fee of $1 million with incentives on the back end. I don't know what those incentives include, but that's what he stated, right? So he truly wants this fight with Terence Crawford, and he likes his chances of Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford lately in his last couple of fights, he's been getting hit a lot more with his fight with Igis Kavalauskas, who was his mandatory challenger, in his fight against former IBF welterweight world champion British superstar boxer Special K Kell Brook. He was getting Kell Brook was timing his getting beat to the punch. Kell Brook was being first, and so Shawn Porter is saying he sees opportunities that he could be successful against Terence Crawford, and he wants that fight ASAP. Now, obviously, in my opinion, I feel like Terence Crawford, should this fight get announced and made, Terence Crawford would be the odds-in favorite to win the fight, as he should be. He's undefeated. He's a 3-division world champion, so he should be considered the odds-in favorite to beat, Shawn Porter. But with that said, this is a pick'em fight, right? I'm going to favor Terence Crawford to win the fight because I just feel like he's just a bit more versatile than Shawn Porter is, right? I just feel like he has what it takes, to make the necessary adjustments to beat Shawn Porter, okay? But that's not to say that, Shawn Porter can't win this fight, because Shawn Porter definitely can win this fight, okay? Shawn Porter, is relentless. He's going to test you physically and mentally every second of every minute of every round. He has respectable power. He has great athletic ability. He has great quick feet, Shawn Porter is a handful to deal with. You're not going to just simply walk through Shawn Porter. That's not going to happen. Okay, so this is an interesting fight, and like I stated, what makes it even more interesting is the fact that he's his mandatory challenger. Okay, it's a legacy fight for Shawn Porter. It's a legacy fight for Terence Crawford. Okay, maybe Terence Crawford may not view it as being a legacy fight, but it truly is a legacy fight. Okay, you have to, in order for you to to be considered and go down as one of the greats, you have to fight the greats, okay? Not just one fight. You can't just single out one fight. And so in the case of Terence Crawford, he hasn't fought a Hall of Famer. He hasn't had a legacy fight. He's admitting of this. When he did a sit-down with Andre Ward on Relentless, he stated that he hasn't had that legacy fight, against a Hall of Famer. And so this is a situation, a chance, and an opportunity for Terence Crawford to fight a Hall of Famer and a legacy fight, okay? Shawn Porter, this is what he had to say when asked about Terence Crawford. He says, for him to be satisfied with his career and his legacy, he said, it's Terence Crawford. That's the sole focus. He said, I'm not giving up on that fight. I've had a conversation with my dad. Go get that fight. That's the fight for me. So my dad's working on it. Okay. So it's like I said, his father's the trainer and manager of Shawn Porter, and so, that's just the fight that Shawn Porter is saying that he wants, and he feels confident that he could win that fight. And so if you're Terence Crawford, you need to make this fight happen with Shawn Porter, okay? Because it's a legacy fight. Terence Crawford has one more fight on his contract with Top Rank. And essentially, because his contract expires in October of this year. So we are already in February of this year. So he's going to have one more fight. More than likely, he'll wait it out until he's a free agent in October. And then most people are anticipating that he'll exit Top Rank and head over to maybe PBC, or he'll just stay a free agent, right? So he can make these huge lucrative fights. But with that said, trying to lowball Shawn Porter is not going to get the fight made. Shawn Porter made $1.2 to $1.3 million to fight for Miller in his last fight, who wasn't a high level fight, wasn't a high quality fight, wasn't a legacy fight. So that's what he made. So imagine for a fight of this magnitude with Terence Crawford, he's going to take a flat fee, a guaranteed fee of $1 million, less than he made for Miller fight. That's not realistic. Okay, so he is the mandatory. Bob Arum stated that he would allow Al Haymon, founder PBC and advisor, to go to a purse bid and then win the purse bid, and then they'll be accountable for the purses for the Shawn Porter Terence Crawford fight. We also know Bob Arum stated that if Keith Thurman truly wanted to fight with Terence Crawford, find another promoter to promote it, lose money on it, and he'll make sure he get tickets ringside to watch it and watch them lose money. This is what Bob Arum stated. So he's not in the business of losing money. He doesn't believe that Terence Crawford would draw in and bring in enough money for him to receive a turn for his investment. He don't believe that Keith Thurman and Shawn Porter represents that. He only feels like the only fighter that can do so is Errol Spence Jr. And it seems like Errol Spence is on the verge of going into a unification showdown with Yordenis Ugas, as the WBA has stripped Manny Pacquiao and elevated Yordenis Ugas. So they're going into a unification bout. That's huge. So Terence Crawford is going to have to answer the bell, and Showtime Shawn Porter at this point in time seems relentless on making this fight happen. He said this is what he needs to complete his legacy and for his resume. And then after that, he'll be comfortable. So let's see how this unfolds and plays out. That's all I got for y'all. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share the videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.